So tomorrow when you get the recording, you will also get the transcript of what was shared. So it's a lovely way to keep people's thoughts and ideas. And if you want to post questions there, you're more than welcome to. I will keep track of the chat box as well. So if you want to interrupt me and ask a question, you're more than welcome to. You might just need to post it a few times if I'm not paying that much attention to the chat box at that point in time. So all of you would have got an email, and there was a couple of things I said you would need for tonight. So if you don't have it at this point, it would be a good time to get it. You're definitely going to need a piece of paper and a pen, and even maybe a couple of colored pens if that's something that you're inclined to do. There were also a couple of handouts attached to the email. So there is a handout for those of you that are not in South Africa. I'm sorry, I didn't send every currency around the world. I just sent the South African currency. So you've got a handout that looks like this. There should be a handout that looks like this. I'll talk about it now. Diana Cooper's A Little Light on the Spiritual Laws. And a handout that looks like this. So just to let you know, the handout that looks like this, the Law of Abundance handout, is really for you to make some notes later on in the workshop. If you don't have it printed out, please don't stress too much. It's not like a make or break thing. You'll be absolutely fine without it. This document here is almost a support and reference document to some of the laws that I'm going to be talking about this evening. A very nice, succinct summary that's useful for each of you. And then this you're going to be playing with a little bit later on. But again, if we don't do it tonight, you don't need to do it. You can do it tomorrow. The other thing that I did ask you to have, though, and it really is worthwhile you getting that, is your purse and or your wallet. So the thing that you store your money tools in and your money in. So if you could get that, would be great. So if you've got all of those things, then we're ready to get started and ready to get going with the evening. I'm going to unmute everybody so you can do one big hello. So as I unmute you, you're going to really just say hello to all the souls and give your voice into the call, because it's a great way of connecting energetically. So on your marks, get set, go. You're all unmuted. Believe it or not.
Hello.
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 It's all unmuting.
Hello.
I say unmute all participants, but they're not all unmuting. What's going on? I think
we have to click OK.
Hello. Unmute yourselves and say hello. Let's do a nice big hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. All these beautiful souls in one place. They still to support each other. Okay, this unmuting thing is not working, so let's just put you all back onto mute. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to move over to a presentation. So just as I do that, let's make sure you can still see me and hear me. So I just want to add the chat box here. So according to all known knowledge, based on my limited technology skills, you should all be seeing a presentation that says 11:11 Online Abundance Workshop. You should be seeing a video of me, and you should be seeing the chat box. Is that correct? Is everybody seeing that? Can you all see that and hear that? Just type in the chat box if you can do that. All good. Thank you, Catherine. Yes, you can see, you can hear. Chat box is working. Perfect. So you've all got everything. Found it, says Lindy. Perfect. So you're all good. And the recording will be of the video and the presentation. But tomorrow I will also send you a hard copy of this, or a soft copy, sorry, of this presentation, and you can always print it out for yourselves as well. So as a starting point, I just want to talk a little bit about this number 1111. It really is one of those numbers that is spoken about quite a lot in the numerology and spiritual space. And when we talk about synchronicity and numbers and numerology, really what it does is it's a call for attention as opposed to an instruction. So whenever we see something that is a sort of sign from spirit, it's not a way of abdicating free will. It's not them going, yes, you must do this, or no, you must do this. The synchronicity is so much more about, please wake up and pay attention to what's going on. And so 11/11 as a day, where 11/11 is all about new beginnings and openings and creation. It really is a pay attention to what you're creating and pay attention to what you're inviting into your life. And so that's a lot of what this call is going to be around tonight, is how do we pay more attention to what we are creating and what we are inviting, which really is what the law of abundance is all around. And the other thing that's really quite useful around today's portal and this 11/11 is if we add 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, it is 4. So that's in numerology, 4 is about grounding and stability. And so that's about bringing the sort of divine to earth. And abundance and prosperity and money is all about that, is the connection of the divine to our earthbound lives at this point in time. And it really is an invitation. The reason that this became such an important thing that I was being guided to do is because next year, being 2020, is a master year, which is a 22/4 year. So this 11/11 portal or day that we're dealing with now is really an opportunity to create and invite in what you need so that 2020 can be the elevated year that we are expecting it to be. So please remember, you can ask me questions and you can type up your comments and your awarenesses. I recommend that you keep your pen and paper close and you make notes. And if you're a doodle noter, that's fine. Make doodles whilst I'm talking. And particularly in some way, shape or form, keep track of everything that's an aha moment for you. So somewhere just to start listing the insights or awarenesses or aha moments. Some of you know that I call aha moments BFOs, blinding flashes of obviousness. So if you to capture those two and to write those down for yourself. I heard a beautiful one the other day, and for those of you that I offend, I apologize, but you can also write down your AFOGs. So AFOG. An AFOG is another fucking opportunity for growth. So you may find some AFOGs through this call as well, which I look forward to. It's horrible not knowing if you're even smiling at me. All right, so we're going to start off, and we're going to start off with what's your personal definition of abundance. So I'm going to take a minute and be quiet, and what I'd like you to do is to just on your doodle sheets, on your piece of paper, just start writing down your personal definition of abundance, and that could simply be two or three words that you associate with abundance. So just take a minute as we start off this call and connect in with what's your personal definition of abundance. What does it mean for you? How do you connect with it? And if you feel willing to and you're open to and you'd like to share some of that on the chat group, I'd love to see what some of your definitions are or the words that you have that you associate with abundance. So if you feel ready to do that, I'd love for you to share some of those on the chat box, please. Peace and freedom. Oh, beautiful. Okay, peace, freedom. More than enough. Hello, Nikki Danes. I didn't see you earlier. More than enough, which is how much? A lot. Never-ending flow, expansiveness, creation, opposite of scarcity. Simultaneous gifting and receiving. Oh, beautiful, Margot. I also didn't see you earlier, so hello. No worries. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? No worries. Flow. health, wealth, financial security, relaxation, and joyful existence. Beautiful. Self-recognition, self-achievement, self-love, and success, and self-pride. To be able to breathe with self with no worries. Love, contentment, comfort, convenience, and more than I can spend. So feel free to steal from each other. Energy flow. Awesome, awesome. Now, let's see if anybody else has anything there. Peace of mind, love, overflow. So even as you hear these answers, communication, oh, beautiful. I hadn't thought of it. Communication and love. Just keep them coming. As you even just start connecting in with the frequency of what people are saying, there's nobody's going paying off my debt. Nobody's going paying this, doing this. There's no sort of sense of resentment in the things that you're talking about. There's no sort of sense of obligation. There's no sort of sense of burden. When you're giving your definitions of abundance, it really is quite an expansive energy. Look at these. These are beautiful. Overflowing, positive feedback loop, more than enough, limited potential, limitless potential, a lot of something. I love that. A lot of something. So I'm going to ask you to keep coming back to this feeling of abundance, because that's the key thing that we're going to be talking through this evening. Is abundance is a frequency. It's a way that we show up in the world. And so this feeling of openness, this feeling of limitless potential, this feeling of more than enough, which is I'm more than enough, life is more than enough. And so really just starting to notice that we cannot ask for abundance and then behave in a very limited way. And think of ourselves in quite a limited way. And so abundance is an opportunity to have an experience of life. It's an opportunity to play into the sort of storyboard or the playground that life offers us. And so I'm going to start off at this point with doing a reading for the group as a whole. So I'm just going to pull some cards for the group as a whole. Sorry, somebody's just trying to get on the webinar. I just want to answer them. Let me just answer them so they can get online too, because they have registered and paid for it. So I'm going to do a reading for the group. So this is really a couple of messages that are coming forward from the divine around specifically what does this group of souls, this group of people that have committed to this call tonight need to hear about abundance. Those of you that have asked for the one card reading and paid for that option, you will receive your one card and your message tomorrow as well. So that will come to you when I send you the link and the presentation and your card and your reading. So let us see what they want to tell this group as a whole. This is very useful at this point, holding in mind your sort of personal definitions of abundance to see what messages it is that they want to offer. So I'm just going to pull two cards. That's what they're showing me we're going to do. And so the first message that comes forward is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. So given this personal definition of abundance, given this feeling of expansiveness, given this idea of possibility and limitless potential, one of the ways that we cage ourselves in and hold ourselves separate in the world is through the frequency of guilt and shame. And guilt and shame can hold us very separate from any abundance that is due to us, the abundance of connection, the abundance of love, the abundance of joy. So allowing ourselves to really step into knowing our light and knowing our brilliance and knowing that there is nothing that we need to repent for. I'll talk about repentativeness a little bit later if need be. And then the other card, which I mean, I can't make this shit up, as I always say, aligns very clearly. That first card is you cannot do your life wrong. Release all regret. You cannot do your life wrong, release all regret. Now, if you have a look at the picture that's on this card, you're going to see a person standing here on these stepping stones. The stepping stones represent the pathway of life. We have to walk over these. And there's stepping stones behind and there's stepping stones ahead. And the idea with this is you're never in the wrong place. You cannot be in the wrong place and you cannot be doing your life wrong. No? You have never made a bad choice. You have never, ever got on the wrong path. You are always exactly where you need to be and you're always doing exactly what you can do and what you need to do. However, there is always an opportunity to take another step and to change the choices we make and to do something different again. But a lot of the time we're looking backwards and almost chastising ourselves and beating ourselves up and thinking that we should be somewhere else other than where we are. And this very energy of thinking you should be somewhere different to where you are will keep you very separate from the abundance flow of the universe. So these are two core messages that they want to reinforce through the call tonight. And for you to notice your own need for forgiveness and your own need to forgive yourself, that the younger version of you has always done the best that she or he knew how to do. And, you know, in sort of Maya Angelou's words, we're always doing the best we know how to do until we know better, and then we do better. And so really at this moment, take a minute to just kind of notice what's the memories, the thoughts, the ideas that are coming up for you as you've connected with your personal definition of abundance. And then this message of forgive yourself, and you've never done it wrong. You can change what you're doing, but you've never done it wrong. Oh dear. Okay, let me just see. Sorry, somebody is now booking for the course, so it's a little bit late. So if there's any thoughts or ideas or insights that are coming up for you and you'd like to share them with the group, remember, group wisdom is always so much more valuable, and what you have to share may be something that somebody else needs to hear. Something that's really important with these cards is both of these cards come from the same suit. They both come from feel it, deal with it, heal it. So this idea of emotion coming up and that there's an experience of feeling something so that we can move into, or probably a better way of saying is move out of thinking about abundance and move into experiencing abundance. It's a feeling. Angela, that's awesome. So that's such a relief for you. If anybody else has any insights coming up, you're more than welcome to share it. So when I send you your one-on-one cards tomorrow, for those of you that have chosen it, if you get these same cards, it's a double message. It's important for you to pay attention to the fact that that's in a group consciousness card and a card for you. So understanding your personal definition, understanding that there's a relationship between freeing yourself, letting your heart expand, coming out of this cage, so to speak, through the compassion and joy of experiencing life in exactly the way it is, and noticing where you are and where you want to go, as opposed to beating yourself up from where you've come from. The definition of abundance, as per the dictionary, and some of you put this down, and this is really to soothe the intellect, that within the dictionary we talk about abundance as a very large quantity of something. So, like a lot. So one of the first principles about abundance is to not walk around going, I don't want a lot, I just want enough. When we walk around saying, I don't want a lot, I just want enough, you're going to get just enough. And just enough is still a struggle. Still a stickle. So it's a very large quantity of something, more than enough love, more than enough money, more than enough time, more than enough opportunity, more than enough experiences, more than enough communication, connection, etc., etc. So it's a very large quantity of something. The next thing, it's very similar words, a state or condition of having copious quantities of something. So copious quantities. So just start noticing as I'm talking about this, which of these words are trigger words for you? Which of the words do you almost have like a shudder to it? Like, ooh, I don't like that word. You know, it's not something I feel allowed or I have permission for, or there's some kind of idea or fear or resistance about it. The next is plentifulness. Don't you love that? Isn't that a cool word? Plentifulness of the good things in life, a prosperity, a plentiful life. I think it's one of the greatest blessings we can give people. I bless you a plentiful life. I bless all of us a plentiful life. It's full of plenty, yeah? Exactly, Ronald. There's always been guilt about relaxing and enjoying life when you've not earned it. And we're going to talk more about that just now. Yeah. And then the last way to define it, and just for completion's sake, I thought I'd put it in, is the quantity or amount of something in a specific area. So this would be, you know, by a river, there's an abundance of toads. So at that place, there's an abundance of something. And so the relativity that there is different abundance in different spaces. And so really aligning ourselves through our environment with abundance is also something that becomes important. Do we share our intimate space and energy and our thoughts and ideas with other beings that buy into the group consciousness of abundance? Or are we in an environment of scarcity? Now, we don't need to blame the environment when that happens, but you do need to notice that you can influence the environment, because when you're in the environment and you buy into it, there's a collusion with the group thinking, a collusion with the group mindset, a consciousness that doesn't serve you. And so to what extent are you creating mindset as opposed to just absorbing from the environment that you're in? And it's really a very important thing to not just absorb from the environment that you're in, to actually realize you are the creator. And how do I create? And this is a really big part of the area you're in. So your workplace, your family, etc., etc. And knowing to what extent you just collude and absorb these things. Nikki Danes in copious quantities of money or food makes me feel bad for those that don't have enough, not even one decent meal a day. Exactly right. Exactly right. So, I mean, Nikki Danes and Maria have started to really go into exactly the next point, which is, in what way do you feel abundance? So you have started to share that. So I would like you all to sit down for a minute or take a minute and just drop into this. What is my guilt or my fear or my insecurity or any resistance that comes up around abundance? Just to pay attention to that. Just to pay attention to that. Feel undeserving. Who am I to deserve abundance? Beautiful question. So really just drop into it. Indulge yourself with the fears that come up. Sorry, there's somebody that has needs to be part of the call but doesn't have the link, so I'm just trying to find it for them. Just start noticing it, and please feel free to write it there and share. And if you have a similar fear, just kind of say ditto. Hello, Nadine. Right, let's see. Not deserving. Also fear that I do have will be taken away. I feel afraid of having it all. Yeah. I'm already so tired now, creating enough. How hard will I have to work to create or maintain abundance? Also feel that excess changes people. Money tends to corrupt and make people think they are superior to others, which I hate. Envy and judgment from others. Feeling guilt or shame for wanting things, good things, and also the need to struggle and work hard. If I have it, it will be taken away from me. I get concerned around others not having enough. Tend to want to give things away. Yeah. So big things, hey? So, I mean, you're all on this call because you want abundance, but here's the dilemma. Here's the challenge, is that the universe does not want to upset you. And if there's something that doesn't feel good for you, they're not going to give it to you. There's no way to do this. I feel the responsibility of more abundance. So with more comes more responsibility. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can sort this out for this person. Which is very frustrating. All right, it's too bad. So this guilt or shame, so again, we're going to get to this sort of message of forgiving yourself, of really the allowance to enjoy, to indulge, to have all that we need and want. So many don't have. I feel bad even for being able to work from home when others have to get up and sit in traffic. How will I feel if I have big financial abundance? Sure. I mean, that's so beautifully put, Elizabeth, that like we can get these very seemingly small things that we feel guilty about. And even the opportunity of being able to have created a life where you can work like that creates guilt. Yeah. And we need to understand on frequency, where we look at these various laws, guilt and shame are the lowest frequencies we've got. And so when we've got guilt of having, what part of the universe is going to want to give you more? Yeah. So we really have this existential crisis in a way, don't we, between the desire for abundance, because you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't want it. If you didn't in some way, shape or form believe you deserved it or wanted it or needed it even. And then these deep, deep rooted insecurities, fears, guilts and shames that come up with us, that abundance will put me at risk because if I have it, somebody will take it away from me. Abundance may lead to me being rejected because others may not want to be around me. Abundance might make me one of the people that are mean and horrible in the world. Yeah? And so these are many, many things to start really just noticing in yourself, because the point of reflection here as we start to heal this is to notice, what do I need to know that would alleviate me from this fear? So if you could sit in that question, what do I need to know that would alleviate me from this fear. What do I need to know that would alleviate me from this fear? You may need to drop quite deep into your heart to connect with the spirit in you that has a perspective on this. What do I need to know that will alleviate this fear? If any of you start coming up with any answers, it's always enough. Everyone has much ability to create their own abundance, as I do. Okay. I need to know the universe has a plan for all of us. The more abundance I have, the more I have to give. Let's see what other messages come up. I would need to know that others do not have less because I have more, that I'm not taking anything away from anyone else. I can be of greater service to others in the universe with the abundance I have. There's an abundance of abundance for all, said like Nikki would say it. I need to accept I'm worthy, and abundance means I can make a difference in being of service to others. The same abundance that is available to me is available to every single person on the planet. Yeah. So, for jealousy from others, there will always be jealousy amongst people. I need to learn to block those negative vibrations and send love back. Okay. So Catherine, as we work through all of these things, it's kind of useful to notice that the own sort of sense of jealousy and comparison that you can release yourself from as well, which we'll play with a bit more later on. If I enjoy abundance, I could share this learning with others. It can be as easy or as difficult as I choose to make it. Yeah. That it's okay to have, even when others have not. So many of us would kind of suffer from this sort of Mother Teresa kind of energy that comes forward. And the best way I can describe the Mother Teresa energy is that it's we must all suffer together. That and I in no way diminish the impact that somebody like Mother Teresa had. You know, the energy though with which that she comes forward, and with the Good Samaritan kind of energy, and the karma that comes with that, is all aligned with I must suffer along with others in order for me to influence, transform, and change the way that they do things. There we go, Margot. Beautiful question. What I know that I'm pretending not to know, that if I were to acknowledge would change everything. What beautiful questions. That others don't have because they have a lesson to learn during that part of their life. So the Mother Teresa energy, if you're wanting to sort of just drop into this idea and notice, where do you feel like you resonate with that as a frequency, that the only way to transform is through us all suffering together. That almost struggling and suffering means that there's a connection point. And so now as one, we can move forward. And the truth is whilst that may bring some compassion and some support and even some emotional stability in various ways, it certainly doesn't raise everybody out into abundance. By me dropping into suffering along with all others, there's no opportunity for shifting to abundance. There's no opportunity to bring others into the frequency of abundance. It just means that we all sit outside of it and sit underneath it. And so this is a very sort of important thing to notice, is that to what extent does my colluding with the story of suffering and struggling actually serve those that we are worried about? How does it actually contribute to anything shifting or changing? How does it help them learn how, if that is even our job? And we'll talk more about that later on. But to what extent does it actually support? Through our own resistance and through our own rejection of abundance, to what extent are we raising anyone up, including ourselves? How do we allow others to gain permission too? So Mpumi's just said it beautifully, Penny. As I give myself permission to be abundant, I give other people permission to do so too. There's a very huge cliche that many of us speak about but don't internalize, is how do we be the change we want to be in the world? And so how do I support a shift and become someone that provides opportunity for others to see what is possible? Where you come from a place where you have shifted yourself out of scarcity into abundance. Every time we do this, the group consciousness shifts and the opportunities shift for more and more people. So let me just pause there and see what your insights are around this shift out of the Mother Teresa kind of energy. I'm just trying to see if this person can. So, what permissions can you give yourself? What permissions can you internalize to be a beacon of light rather than somebody colluding with the story of suffering? Okay, I like that. Thank you. I also have no right to take responsibility for someone else's journey, including their happiness. Okay, I don't resonate with the suffering together, but I never thought about my own personal shift having an impact on the collective consciousness. No? Collective consciousness is something we really, really need to start taking responsibility for our contribution to. Is every time I drive past somebody and I feel guilty that they don't have and I do, every time that I feel a sense of shame, every time I feel like it's a difficult thing for us to shift anything, we contribute to a group consciousness of lack. And that actually, for those that are not given the opportunity to become aware of how their thoughts can shift their reality, that are absorbers of group consciousness, we're just contributing to the very thing that holds us all at a very low level. I found when I started being brave this year, it allowed those who know me to be brave too. Almost like if I could do it, they could do it too. Being vulnerable and admitting it to it has helped others. Absolutely. I give myself permission to be brilliant, bright, and a radiant being of light. You just want to hear me say that, Nikki. I give myself permission to be brilliant, bright, and a radiant being of light. So this is a really important thing, is that the underlying, so whilst Angela's saying it never resonated with me to suffer along with others, for those of you that feel guilty for having, it is to a large extent the underlying consciousness you have is the idea that I must suffer too, because then we're in communion with each other, then we're in harmony with each other. And this is not necessarily true. This is not necessarily a vibration that is supporting the elevation of consciousness on this planet. I give myself permission to being abundant as my true nature. I like the collective consciousness contribution idea that inspires me to be more abundant and share the high frequencies with others, to bring them joy in the process. Exactly, Elizabeth. So as we are abundant, we can be kind and compassionate. The thing that actually builds connection in the human experience is the visibility of seeing people in kindness and compassion, and really not looking at people with, you know, I'm going to use the idea of a beggar on the side of the road because it's something that keeps coming up for many of us, is when you connect in with the frequency and the energy, the most important thing they desire is to be seen. Most people, out of their own guilt and shame and fear, look away. And in the looking away, that breeds an invisibility. That means that they aren't able to actually see their own possibility, their own potential. So when we connect by seeing people, greeting people, listening to people, in an unconscious way, we contribute to the possibility of, as somebody that is seen and valued and heard and experienced in the world, you matter and you're important. And every time we feel shameful and guilty, whether you give or not give, if I give within the frequency of shame and guilt, I'm contributing to that invisibility. I'm contributing to that very idea of you are not able, you are not capable. And by that very collusion, I am not able and I am not capable. So let's all remain as small as we can. Now, I give myself permission to shine and not act small. I'm abundant in all ways and I am grateful. Okay. So I'm going to move on with the call and go into some of the other data that's coming forward tonight, but all the sort of fears and permissions that are coming up, you can continue to share as we go through this and start to notice the sort of ideas that drop in so that you can support yourself, others, the world, the universe to a place of its natural expansiveness, which is an abundant place. And we have nowhere else to look sometimes than nature. And nature teaches us about abundance in so many ways. One of the ways that I often talk about it when I talk about this on Healing Your Relationship with Money course, is that if we go to the ocean, do you worry if you swim in the ocean, you're taking away water from somebody else? If I go into the ocean, oh no, that other person is not allowed in the ocean now because I've used their water. I've taken it away from them. Because there's only a limited amount of ocean water that we can all play with. We don't think like that when it comes to the ocean. We know that it moves with us. Yeah? And sometimes there are too many people in the ocean, but that's not the point we're making tonight. The point is that it expands and contracts based on the relationship with those that are in the water. And abundance is a very similar thing. It expands and contracts based on what is going on and the relationship between this. And starting to notice that we don't fear there not being enough ocean water for us to swim in is a way of starting to think about this collective consciousness of really engaging with the abundance that is always available to us there. So in terms of the law of abundance, this is a phenomenally good book by Diana Cooper, A Little Light on the Spiritual Laws. In this book, she talks about the 36 spiritual laws that she has channeled. And I'm a great fan and believer on standing on the shoulders of champions and standing on the shoulders of those that have come before, and not really trying to recreate anything that has already come from the divine and is something that resonates and is brilliant. And Diana Cooper's this book really is, and it's certainly something I would recommend if it's something you want to understand more about the laws. I gave out this handout to you, which is by a lady called Nashika Bell, and I fully acknowledge her for putting together this document. I don't know her personally, but have really given her all the credit because this is her document, where she's taken this book by Diana Cooper and she has translated those 36 laws into a distilled version, which is a handout that I've offered you tonight. So if you want the very simplified version, it is this. And in the book, one of the laws that Diana Cooper talks about is the law of abundance. And abundance, as we've already connected in with, it means flowing with the higher qualities of life: joy, love, prosperity, happiness, success, vitality, laughter, and generosity. And I love the statement of hers, and it's something we'll come back to all the time, is abundance is your birthright, open up to receive it. Now, it doesn't go, abundance is the birthright of some people and only they can get it. It really goes to abundance is the birthright to each soul that has stepped onto this planet. And the willingness and the openness and the ability to receive the abundance is actually the thing that we're dealing with, not the abundance that is there. It is available. We just don't allow ourselves to receive it. And so that's why this idea of then, if I'm not receiving it, am I suppressing myself to collude with the group consciousness of scarcity? And that only some people can have, and only some people have this birthright. If we have a look at those souls that do have many that we would categorize as being very wealthy, there's often this perception of them not being very kind people, but there's plenty of wealthy people that are very kind, very generous, very, very loving. There are a group of souls that aren't. Those aren't the souls that are in abundance. Those are the souls that are in power. And we need to make the distinction between souls that are chasing power and use money for power and do that unapologetically and therefore have a lot of money. And those souls that are truly in abundance, which means they are open-hearted into connecting and using their abundance for the holistic good of themselves and all. And to really start noticing this distinction between where we're confusing people that we have looked at and said, I don't want to be like that. That's okay, but it's not about abundance. It's about using power as a tool for ego growth. And we don't need to resist abundance to prove that we're a good person. I'm going to say that again. We do not need to resist abundance to prove we're a good person. There are many, many amazing souls that are deeply invested in their own abundance, that contribute to the elevation of this planet and to compassion and kindness and a willingness to engage with human beings on a different level. That doesn't mean they give away all their money either. It could be investing it in various ways and building with it, creating with it, rather than just giving it away. And so this is a birthright for all of us, is that when you come to earth, there are no souls that do not have the availability of abundance. There are some souls that may have some karmic wounds to overcome or to heal so that they can remove any blockages to receiving it. But that is also available to all souls as we go along. And so we need to understand this elevation of consciousness, this shifting of consciousness, and how we allow that to shift is by being in it. My father always told the story when I was growing up, is he was on the PTA of the school, And I was at, and he says, you know, he always used to get quite frustrated by all the parents that always had an opinion of everything but weren't involved in the PTA. And I've never been on the PTA and have no desire to do that at all. But the point of this is, if you're not engaged in something, you cannot change it. If you're not involved in something, if you're not a role model for something, if you're not a decision maker, if you're not a connector, and so if you're not abundant, how are you going to get abundance on the planet? So the laws that come up in this book, I'm going to go through some of them very quickly. The ones that I've highlighted in pink and with a star are the laws that impact abundance. I'm not going to spend an exorbitant amount of time going through each of these laws. As I've said, this book is very good, but I'm going to give you a snippet of insight around them. And as we go through it, it's with the intention of you noticing what it is that comes into your consciousness as I talk about it, because these laws work collectively. And so when we're talking about the law of abundance, we have to understand all the laws that work collectively with the law of abundance. So the law of as within, so without is the law of mirror. It's the law that whatever we are doing and treating ourselves is what we are creating on the outside. This is one of the predominant ways, along with the law of projection lower down, that we contribute to group consciousness. Is if I'm kind to other people or compassionate to other people or abundant to other people, but not to myself, what I'm actually contributing to the planet is the way I'm treating myself, because that heart frequency is what gets out into the frequency that connects us all together. And so we need to start with a lot more abundance to ourselves. And abundance to self starts with abundance of, firstly, give yourself more compliments. Give yourself a break. Give yourself more attention. Give yourself more love. Give yourself an abundance of time. To how we treat ourselves, that inner dialogue is what we feed into the group consciousness continuously. So I might be on the outside all very loving and supportive, but inside I'm going, well, I'm such an idiot and I do nothing right, and why can't I just get things done? Remember the cards that came up, forgive yourself and you cannot do your life wrong, is every time we are feeding that to ourselves, we're feeding the group consciousness with that as the way that we contribute to the world. The next one is the law of request. Can you ask for what you want? Can you ask for what you need? Can you ask for help? Can you say, please, can you phone me? Please, can you help me do this? Please, can you do this for me? This, I promise you, as one of the laws that I work with in terms of helping souls connect back to their own divine blueprint, is the false idea that we need to be independent and do everything ourselves. Means that we hold on to our requests and then we start beating ourselves up. So the as within, so without problem starts to emit. And because we're not asking in a direct way where we use our words to say, please can I have, please can you help me with, we go into self-sacrificing ways of trying to get our needs met. We go into manipulative ways of trying to coerce people into doing things for us. Or we go into self-sabotaging ways of really shutting ourselves off from support. We are not born to be alone. There is a law of oneness that allows us to intermingle and work with each other. And if I don't ask, nobody will know. If I don't ask, then nobody can say yes. Similarly, if I ask, it's okay for people to say no. It doesn't mean you've been rejected when somebody says no to you. It means it's not them that can support it. And if I keep asking and I keep getting rejected, the question of, am I allowing myself to receive support? is what's it like to support you? My daughter asked for help last night with something, and the minute I sat down to help her, she started getting all aggressive because she doesn't like the vulnerability of being helped. The very unintended consequence of that is nobody wants to help you because it's difficult to engage with you in that space. So again, as we're going through this, if you have insights and awarenesses or thoughts or questions, feel free to jot them down. Then we get the law of attraction. This is the one that is spoken about ad nauseum and the one that is most misunderstood. And the law of attraction is if you ask, you will get it. So if I make the request, I will get it. The law of attraction fundamentally has a really important part to this, and some of you know it very well, is it's ask, believe, detach, and receive. So you've got to ask for it. And then you have to stop asking and believe it's on its way. You need to detach from worry and doubt and insecurity about it. And then when it's made available, receive it. Yeah? And so the law of attraction has got a lot to do with being available to receive. Now, receiving is a very vulnerable energy. Receiving is the most difficult thing we can learn to do. You can think about it from this perspective at this point, is how well do you receive a compliment? How well do you receive a gift, an unexpected gift? How well do you receive guidance, advice, support, love, help, input, direction? To what extent are you able to feel safe in that vulnerability so that you don't bat it away? We've got the law of resistance, and very simply, those of you that have worked with this, you'll know it. That which you resist persists. So that which you don't want, you will get. So I don't want more debt. Guess what you're going to get? I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I don't want people to suffer in the world. Yeah? Exactly right, Marie. So much nicer to give. Yeah. So when we look at the law of resistance, it's really noticing that I don't want energies in my life. And if you look at your fears from earlier, you can look at how many of them. I don't want other people to suffer. I don't want to be a horrible person. I don't want to do things like this. I don't want to. That resistance creates. And that's probably one of our most powerful teachers, is to get intentional about receiving what is our divine birthright, rather than trying to avoid that by making sure we don't have anything else. Yeah. These are all big laws, and that's why I said that this is a mini workshop. Some of you have done the full 2 days of healing a relationship with money. And so this is a great reminder for those of you that haven't. This is really like the tip of the iceberg, and it's really getting you to notice what comes up for you so that you can start delving into this consciousness of abundance, the possibility of it. We get the law of attachment. So the law of attachment is where I have to have something to feel safe. I have to have something to feel secure. So I don't feel safe if I don't have my children, my dog, my home, my this, my that, my money, my whatever it is that you are dependent on to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel awake, to feel alive. Absolutely, Ange. So it aligns so much with that message and the Soul Compass check-in. So the law of attachment is a dependency. It's noticing our dependencies. Dependency is the very opposite of abundance. Abundance means that which comes will come, and that which goes must go. And everything that goes has served, so that there's space for that which must come. So one of the very simple ways that often comes forward in readings for abundance mindset and abundance allowance is clean out your cupboards. Clean out the stuff that you're hoarding and release it to the world. Somebody else wants it. Somebody else is praying every day for the thing that you're saying, please, I need it to feel safe. So this ability to make space for new by detaching from everything you're holding onto from a place of fear, because hoarding always comes from a place of fear. This includes holding on to relationships that have reached their expiry date, holding on to old books and old ideas and old things that no longer are being used. And if it's not being used, it's stagnating. And when you surround yourself with stagnant energy, there is very difficult for the universe to come through that. So what are you not loving in your life? What are you not using in your life that you're holding on to just in case? Clothes or books or appliances or boxes or I don't know, it can be in 1,000 things. What ideas, what people are you holding on to? So I'm going to go, there's a couple of more pages around these laws, but as a starting point, I would like you to just notice which of these laws has given you a place for thought. Which one of these 5 that I've mentioned is the one that most has brought you to insights about something that you need to shift in terms of abundance? And if you just want to share that, which law is triggering awarenesses for you at this point in time? Let's just see what everybody wants to say there. Are you there? Feels like a big black hole. Okay, there we go. I don't want. Okay. Attachment. Law of resistance. I accept no help, no support. As within, so without. Law of attachment. Attachment. Law of resistance. As within, so without. The receiving. Okay. So at this point in this mini workshop, I'd like you to notice one action you would like to take that would be evidence of something that you could shift. One action. So if you could give yourself at this point, and we are going to go delve deeper, and it's going to be more that we're going to work through, but at this point, one thing, one action you could take. Small steps create miraculous change. What would be one small thing that you could do that would be evidence of hearing the states tonight and wanting to make a shift, of evidence of changing a pattern, doing something new for yourself? Law of resistance, law of request. Yeah, I'm receiving. And if you're willing to share the one action you're willing to take, as if you're willing to commit to it on the group chat, that would be awesome. It's a lovely way to move into action, is to commit. So see if you're willing to share what's one small action you can take. Okay, so Nikki Danes, I'm going to give you an even smaller action. Ask someone at work to help you with something. You do need to be seen, Karen. Exactly right. So when you give yourself an action, we need a verb. So Taryn, I'll give you a new one as well. Give yourself compliments. Give some books away, Renal. Awesome. Self-care. So Margot, if there was some specific action that would look like self-care for you, what would it be? Yeah, so Elizabeth asking somebody to help you. Do your nails, a manicure, exactly. I have so many new business books I have never read and will probably never read. I shall offer them up to anyone who wants them. Perfect. Daily breath work. So that's a more specific action. Margot, awesome. High heel shoes for Margot, 19. Okay, Angela, you're not giving away your abundance. Yeah, no, you can. If any takers, you can connect with Angela around come on. Right, so then on the next set of laws, we've got the law of creation, and we see here that each one of these laws affects abundance. So it's going to look like we're talking about a lot, but I'm going to go through these relatively quickly. The law of attention, take leave from work and take myself on a date. There we go. This is why I often talk to people about take yourself on a date. When last did you date yourself? And when last did you give yourself compliments? When last did you just notice yourself in your day? And that noticing yourself in your day has got to do with this law of attention. The law of attention is anything you give attention to gets bigger. Okay? So if I give attention to criticism, it gets bigger. If I give attention to conflict, it gets bigger. If I give attention to worry, it gets bigger. You will notice this. Anything you give attention to, it multiplies. Now, if we understand that when I give attention to fear, it multiplies. There we go. Some of these are starting to look great. Accept confidence and gifts with grace. Release the fear, meditate. Perfect, I understood you, my darling. My dad has offered to help wash my flat walls. Take him up on the offer. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dad. That would be amazing. When are you coming? Yeah, great. Receive, receive, receive. So the law of attention is, what are you giving attention to that's making it bigger? Now, this does not mean the law of escapism needs to kick in, which means that you don't give attention to anything that it's needing attention. But this is the obsessive kind of attention, where we just talk about it, focus on it, think about it, sleep about it. It just creates a continual vortex of energy. It can suck you. Now, if I give that same level of energy and that same level of attention to compliments, to kindness, to love, to joy, to abundance, whilst I'm going about my day, when I notice all the amazing, I give attention to the beauty that surrounds me and to the amazing human beings that I share this planet with. Yes, exactly right, Marie. Your attention goes, your energy flows. And so your energy is a commodity that's worth paying wisely with. No? The news is not a good place for your energy, for your attention. Donald Trump, not necessarily a good investment of your energy through your attention. Maybe it is for some of you, maybe it isn't for others. But what is a worthwhile investment of your energy through your attention? The law of flow is go with it. No? So the law of resistance is I don't want it. The law of flow is just show up, say thank you. No? Is to, where do you need to go with the flow? Go with the energy of what's working. What I mean by this is, if we have a look specifically in work, we can spend a lot of time arguing, resisting, fighting. The law of flow is to trust everything flows to the ocean. All water makes its way to the ocean. If I'm in it, I can influence it. But if I'm outside of it, and worse, if I'm wasting all my energy swimming upstream away from it, I cannot get the benefit of it. So where do we need more flow? Go with the flow. The law of abundance, we've already spoken about. It's more joy, more peace, more harmony. The law of clarity is, are you clear with what you want? Are you clear? How many of you tend to have the following pattern? You will wake up, or you will have an hour and you say, I'm going to do the following in the next hour. And then you do everything except that thing. Yeah? This talks to the law of clarity and the law of intention, is that we are saying one thing and doing another thing. And so every time we're saying one thing and we're doing another thing, we're showing the universe that we're not aligned to the law of clarity and the law of intention. And if you're not clear, there's a lack of clarity. And so there's confusion when there's a lack of clarity. Whenever something's not clear, it's muddy. When it's muddy, then what do you want? Yeah? And this is an alignment of your words, your thoughts, and your actions. Is the things you think about, is the things you're talking about, and is the things you're doing aligned? Are you clear, intentional, focused? Yeah. So sometimes I'm saying, oh, I want, I'm aligned with divine flow, but in my head I'm going like, who am I going to argue with today? I'm busy arguing with the politicians and you're arguing with this. And so this misalignment between what I'm saying and what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what I'm doing, it makes things unclear. Now imagine being the universe at that moment. It goes like, well, which one? Which one do you want? Which one do I give you? I'll just do nothing. And so this, the law of clarity and the law of intention, when we are misaligned with them, we get into what we call stuck. So if you're feeling stuck, these are the laws to start the alignment, and this is often called about integrity, integratedness. AFOG, another fucking opportunity for growth. Exactly right. Alignment. In order to be aligned, we have to really notice what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to. Are your words clear with your feelings? If you're feeling a no and you say yes, you're out of alignment. And this impacts the law of clarity and the law of intention. So do your words, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions align? The law of prosperity is one I'm not going to talk about. This is more about being responsible with your wealth. So many of you have spoken about this when you're looking at your fears. When I step into the power of abundance and I receive that which is my divine birthright, am I responsible with it? Now, responsible does not mean responsible for others. The word responsible means response-able. I'm able to respond to the power that comes with wealth. What I mean by power is not the power of the ego that we were talking about earlier, but the power of knowing that I can use this in whichever way I want to. I can use this in whichever way I want to. And I'm able to respond to my situation in that way. The law of manifestation is the thing we're going to end off tonight with, is this is the ability to make things appear. To think of somebody and receive their phone call. To think of a meal and then manifest it as part of your reality, even if that means you make it. But allowing things to come out of ideas into form, to move out of just something you think about and actually give birth to it so it has substance and form outside of you. Most of us are stagnant with ideas that we have not transformed into a tangible form of reality. And then every time we have too many ideas and we think about doing things all the time and then don't actually deliver them in any way, shape, or form, we end up with what we call creative, miscarriages. So creative miscarriages is like stagnant energy that just resides around you. And this is every time you have a lot of ideas that I'm going to, but you just don't. So creating one thing, constipation, we can use that as a good word too. I like that. Are you manifesting? Are you constipated from manifestation? I love that. The law of success is success breeds success, which breeds more success, and actually success is a divine right, and success is relative to each person. So who am I to say that the person living on the streets, that that's not a successful life for them? It may be a successful life for them. And very much aligned with the law of success is not us projecting our ideas of success onto other people, or internalizing other people's ideas of success onto ourselves. Is rather this unique interpretation of what does a fulfilled, successful life look like for me. And so this unique sense of success. Right, so same process. Which one of these has sparked an AFOG or an awareness for you? Which one of the laws here is one that you need to be paying special attention to? Clarity, clarity, clarity. I love it. Clarity, clarity. Okay, maybe we'll do a workshop on the law of clarity. All right. It's a very clear winner. Clarity. All right, so I think we'll do a workshop on the law of clarity and looking at ways to build clarity. The law of intention. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Right, so the next lot, I'm going to talk about these three very quickly. The law of karma. The law of karma is a balancing act. So this is about bringing things into an alchemical process. So anything that's been in any extreme, how do we collapse it into the fact that both of the extremes serve? Very simple way. You've heard me talk of this, many of you, but just for those that have never been on a call with me or done work with me, a very simple way of looking at the law of karma is if I've had many lifetimes as a man or masculine, and I think that that's good, I may need to come into a lifetime as feminine until I realize the benefit and freedom and joy of being feminine. And so noticing that neither being male or feminine is better or worse or good or bad. They just both serve. And so whenever we get to it both serves, that's where karma is collapsed. So your karmic triggers are anywhere where you think that there is something that is wrong. So those of you that were really sort of in the story of it's bad for me to have money and people who have money are bad and so on and so forth, this sort of extreme pull, there may be some karmic wound, karmic trigger that's necessary for you to heal. That can be past life, etc., etc., or a vow that you've created in a past life. And if you feel like that's something, then it's best to get a reading done around that in particular. The law of responsibility is knowing that what you are experiencing in your life, you are co-creating. So nothing is happening to you. You are a partner to the divine, and the partner to the divine means you take accountability for that part that you are playing. That you kind of, there's a card that often comes up in my readings called Own the Part You Play. Is life's not happening to you. You are responsible for everything that you are co-creating. Now, there is such a thing as fate, but fate creates opportunities for us to respond, and your response is continuously your responsibility. And so when I get given an opportunity, and do I say yes or do I say no? Yeah. And aligned with the law of responsibility is who you blame for things that are going wrong in your life. If you tend to have a sort of idea that things are happening to you and that everybody else has got a much better deal than you, and so just woe is me tends to be the sort of essence. And it's fine for you to have emotional experiences, but a very strong commitment to your own pity party does not actually help manifest a change in behavior. It just helps manifest someone to blame. And when we are in this blame sort of experience, we're going to get more and more of things we can use to blame others for. And a very big part of this is that when we try and when we feel sorry for other people, we're holding them separate from their law of responsibility. When I look at somebody in life and I say, shame, it's unfair that that is happening to them, whilst I can have compassion that, oh, it's a crappy thing to have to go through, and supporting them with finding the resources they need. Whenever we're in the shame that's terrible, that shouldn't be happening, we're actually abdicating the other person from responsibility for their life. And this is a very big group consciousness thing. Very, very big group consciousness is making sure that each person learns to take responsibility for what they are co-creating in their life and not use a blame game for it. The last law that we're going to talk about on this page is the law of prayer. And the law of prayer really aligns in the law of faith, which is about praying from the inside out. When we look at prayer, prayer is not using the divine or God or source or universe, whatever you want to talk about, as some sort of big brother rescuer. So please come and take this away from me, is never a prayer that can be answered. The divine does not take away anything. Everything that exists creates an opportunity for some resource to be found to be dealing with it. So the law of responsibility kicks in. And so when I pray for the insight, the clarity, the wisdom, the courage, the words, the whatever I need from the inside out, and I don't pray for anything to be taken away. I pray for the ability to face it, to resolve it, to deal with it, so that I can manifest a new reality out of this. Because the law of prayer will always support you. But you need to learn how to take responsibility and then open up to ask and receive what it is that you need. Now, the law of prayer does not work on the shame, poor you, I'm so sorry, this is terrible, let me help you out kind of energy. Because all the other laws impact that. The law of prayer takes very much with, thank you, thank you, thank you for showing me what I need to see. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me the opportunity to resolve this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so when we say thank you, thank you, thank you, which we'll talk about a little bit later on again, it's an invitation to receive. Please, can I have some more? Please, will you do this? Please, can you just put some money in my bank account? Please, I promise if you help me out, I'll be a good girl from now on. Please, can you make sure that this person isn't mean to me anymore? Please, can you just help me sort this out? Please, can you, these are not, who's going to do it? So the law of action requires a step to be taken. And the law of prayer can give us all we need to act on what we need to act on. Any tips on recognizing when you're subtly holding yourself responsible for someone, even when you consciously don't want to? So the very nature of the question, Angela, shows that you are. So a couple of things that come up around it is, firstly, that person is going to cross your mind in many ways during a day. You won't be with the person, but you will think about them. Now, we think about many of the people that we love, but we also think about many people we don't love in a day. And so we think about them in terms of what it is we want to say, what it is that we would do, what it is we think they should be doing, what it is that we think they should know, what it is that if I had a chance to tell them, I would tell them. And then with our loved ones, we also think about them in the sense of worrying about them and shame, are they okay, and will they cope, etc., etc. This is not the same as having a thought that brings your attention to somebody and gets you to action. Action would mean I do something. I can do something, and when I do it, I phone them, I do this, I do whatever it is. But when I'm thinking about them and I almost carry them in what I call the psychic load of me, they carried with me through the day, through the night. Yeah, because there's something that plagues me and I feel responsible for doing something to make them different or make them feel better or make them have to have a different experience, then that's when we are holding on to a responsibility for someone else. And the consciousness of not wanting to doesn't change it. Only the awareness of the part of you that feels that you are responsible for something. And the guilt will be there, the shame will be there, all those sorts of things. So I hope that answers the question, very powerful question. Along with that law of responsibility, when we're talking about being responsible for other people, there's a law that's not spoken about here and has come forward very strongly lately. Some of you have been known me to talk about it lately. It's called the law of non-interference. And the law of non-interference means other people are, for other souls, other human beings, are perfectly entitled to walk their own path. They're entitled to their own experiences, their own insecurities, their own fears, their own mistakes, their own insights. And the law of non-interference says that this is yours. This is yours. I love you through it. I'm not responsible for changing it for you. I can support you through it. Right, so I'm going to go through the next page and then we'll go through which of these have stood out for you. Very, very, very quickly, the law of frequency or vibration, lack of insights. Elizabeth, just to help me understand a little bit more of anything that you're wanting to make clear there, because I'm not sure what you're referring to there, my love. So the law of frequency or vibration, just a joke, okay. All right, sorry, I missed it. The law of frequency is, and so these are the higher laws, is that whatever frequency you resonate with is what you're contributing to the group consciousness, is what you're creating, it's what you're manifesting. So if I'm at the frequency of fear, that's what I'm going to do. If I'm at the frequency of love, hope, support, compassion, etc., etc. And one of the greatest ways to raise your frequency is to accept. Is to accept it is what it is, that life is the way it is, that things are the way they are, and that acceptance frees you from the resistance, and that raises your frequency automatically. So the law of divine surrender, the law of really just embracing things as they are, which raises our frequency. The law of miracles means that you don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to know what you want. So if you can ask for what you want, if you are in alignment with the law of miracles, things happen by divine inspiration, and you don't have to know how. When you are coming up with your abundance strategy and you are planning every little step of how, so for example, I want abundance, I want to be able to go to on holiday to Mauritius, and in order to do that I must earn money, and in order to have that money I must get a bonus from my business, and in order to get a bonus from my business I must make sure that I'm delivering my KPIs, and in order to do this I've come up with the how it's going to happen. Like, who says you couldn't have got some sort of random miracle from somewhere? Maybe somebody you know offers you a trip to Mauritius. And even as I say, it's all going to go like, well, it's never going to happen. Well, you don't know what can happen if you let it be. If you just let it be. So you need to know what you want, not how you want to get it. And then you need to act in alignment, that law of clarity and that law of attention. I want all the detail about the law of miracles. Exactly right. Give me the plan. I can believe in a miracle when I have a plan. It kind of works the opposite way. Law of gratitude. The law of gratitude is a gratefulness for life. Now, this is not a gratefulness for the nice things in life. It's a gratefulness for life and all that life brings with it. And so, Angela, you just... Oh, you're amazing. Anybody want to offer Angela a trip to Mauritius or Greece? She's open to receive. Well done for asking. The law of gratitude is to really live in the state of noticing the opportunity every day offers you. So most of us use the law of gratitude in a very, very limited way, in a very shallow way, actually. We have a thing of living in false gratitude, or even gratitude that's about guilt, is I should be grateful I have a job. I should be grateful that I have the money I have. I should be grateful that I have these problems. The should be grateful is not the law of gratitude. The law of gratitude is exactly that. I am grateful for. And I'm grateful for the conflicts in my life, and I'm grateful for the debt, because the debt keeps me grounded. And I'm grateful for the difficulty I'm having at understanding this. I'm grateful for the joy in my life. I'm grateful for all aspects. To really embrace gratitude, it can't be selective, and it can't be false, and it can't be under the guise of guilt, because then it is not the law of gratitude. The law of blessings, we'll talk a bit more about how you can play with this quite practically, is this is about giving out an abundance of blessings to the world. Rather than apologizing to people, bless people. Rather than thanking people, bless people. Sending out blessings. I bless you with a plentiful life. I bless you with the opportunity for grace. I bless you with an abundant heart. I bless you. And it really, this is what love and light is about, is sharing love and light to whoever you meet. So when I do drive down the road and I do see somebody that is suffering on the side of the road, send out a blessing rather than a shameful statement. Shame, it's so terrible. So I bless you. I bless you with all the opportunities that you are available to receive. I bless you with insight. I bless you with grace. I bless you with heart of love. I bless you. And open your heart up and imagine your heart just pouring out love. I remember as a little girl watching a movie called The Care Bears. Some of you might remember it. Many, many years ago, I met a guy and he told me he thinks I'm just like a Care Bear. And I was highly offended. But now I really take it as a profound compliment. Is this distributing love, just sharing it out wherever you go. That's the law of blessings. And again, being able to receive them. That they're not only available for those downtrodden. The law of decree. This is one that some of you might battle with. This is to command. It is, I command it, and so it is. So this is to be demanding. Do not go, sorry, if you don't mind, please could I have a pizza today if it works for you and if it's okay. And I hope you don't mind if I ask for some extra cheese, but you know, I really don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm really sorry. This is not the law of decree. The law of decree is pizza, 10 minutes, thanks, got it. And you can do that with kindness and love. But the law of decree is to demand. And this is a high frequency law. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. To when you want to end something, I break up with this, and so it is. It is decreed, it is declared, it is done, it is finished. Rather than dilly-dadding and asking for permission and trying to get everybody to make sure it's okay. This is a command. A command, this. And if I'm saying this stuff and you're going like, I'm not allowed to do that. Who says you can do that? You don't have to be an arsehole or a bitch, but you can, especially when you're coming up with your own abundance orders. And so it is. It's what I want. I'm okay if I don't get it. But what's the decree? That's why you see so many spells or prayers that are repeated 3 times and end with, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. But if you go, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Sorry. I don't want to, I'm sorry. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Aligned. Words, your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, align. Connected. I decree it. And so, are you ready to decree your abundance? That you are commanding abundance to be the birthright for you and for all. That so it is, and so it is, and so it is. That I refuse to open myself up to apologize for that or to doubt that. I command it. I command it to be the way it is. Big one, tough one. Might be like the clarity one for many of you. And then the law of faith is to stop worrying about it. I decree it, I command it, I ask for it, I'm open to receiving, and I stop worrying about it. You cannot worry about something and have faith at the same time. Faith is that if it serves you, it will be done. If it serves the greatest good for all, it will be done. So I ask, I decree, I align, I receive. But I do not worry, doubt, and think about plan B and C and D and E and F. and have a little backup plan for this and a backup plan for that. And if it doesn't work, then I'll do this. You're aligned. You know? And this truly means that if it doesn't manifest the way you want, you also have faith that that means that's not meant to be. That it's not in the place of doubt. You know, it's not in the place of resistance. Right, so on these 2 pages, the law of karma, responsibility and prayer, and the law of frequency, law of miracles, law of gratitude, law of blessings, law of decree, and law of faith. Which one has stood out for you as being the law that is most impactful at this point in time? Decree. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Decree and faith. Blessings and decree, vibration, frequency and decree. Clarity flows into decree. Absolutely. Decree. Decree and miracles, vibration. Decree. Decree. Faith. Yeah. Very cool stuff, hey? Very, very cool stuff. Miracles happen. Right. So I am going to read this poem to you. What I'm going to suggest, it's a long poem. Yes, those of you that gone and look, oh my God, it's a long poem. I want you to close your eyes as I read you this poem. Now, that does not mean have a little mini nap. It's more about noticing what comes up for you as you hear these words. So rather than read it, I would like you to hear it and experience it. So I'm going to put down your pen and paper. And put your feet on the ground and just sit back, take a deep breath in at this point. And I'm going to read you The Essence of Abundance by Jeff Foster. You don't really want what you think you want. You only want your wanting to end. To no longer want for anything. To be existentially full and complete. But isn't that just another want? Perhaps the biggest want of all. Do you really want your way out of wants? What do you really want? Want actually means lack. So now the question changes. What do you really lack? Do you really lack anything in this moment? Thought says yes. Thought lists all the things that are missing. Thought advises that certain objects, people, experiences would complete this moment. Thought is always a seeker. It is always comparing. Thought says, if you get what you want, the lack will disappear permanently, and this moment will be completed. Get what you want, no more lack. Do you see the trick here? A mechanism perfectly designed to keep you away from what you really want. So what is true abundance? It's not about getting what you want. It's not about filling a lack. It's about realizing that the present moment never lacks anything. It's already full to the brim with sights and sounds and smells, with thoughts and feelings, with colors and shapes beyond imagination. A thought or feeling of lack, a sense of something missing, is actually part of this moment's completeness, not a threat to it. It's part of the richness of now, not an enemy, a welcome visitor in the vast open space that you are, an old friend that has come for tea. Space lacks nothing, for it is full with everything, pregnant with possibility, rich with potential. The mind confuses peace with absence, space with emptiness, and unlimited capacity with lack. And the game is on, Search for opposites, the longing for goals. You don't really want what you think you want, and that's why getting what you want doesn't satisfy you for long. Who you really are does not want. It has never heard of lack. It is already satisfied with this moment, for it is this moment exactly as it is. This is true abundance, remembering who you really are. Prior to time and change, these are the unparalleled riches of the universe. A breath, the simple feeling of being alive. Getting what you thought you wanted, acquiring all the material and spiritual riches of the universe, doesn't even come close. This moment is a strange and unexpected jackpot. So take a minute and notice what came up for you when you heard that. If you need to look at it, it's a lot of info. You can. Just notice, what does this part of the richness of now, Margot? Beautiful, hey? We honestly believe that abundance is about taking some void and filling it up. Oh, Suad, I'm good. Tears wash away all that is needed to be released. Let the tears come. But abundance is not about filling a void. Abundance is an energy of presence. I'll listen to that over and over. Good. So beautiful, isn't it? So beautiful. So I will be sending out this presentation to you tomorrow, and I would recommend that you either print this out or copy it or do whatever, but it's such a powerful way to connect, even if you just take simple snippets of it. And just be in the presence of the now and noticing what is available to you, what is open to you. Every moment is brimming with so much abundance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I'm going to jump through a couple of slides because I want to end off with the games that you can play. So there's some stuff that I've spoken about already on these slides. So how we move from resistance to acceptance, I've spoken about the laws. And when we see scarcity thinking, you can see some of the words and the energy that comes forward from scarcity thinking. So I'm not going to talk through these slides today. Those of you that have been on Healing Your Relationship with Money know that we spend some time on it. So every time I think I deserve something, or I'm protecting myself, or I'm jealous, or I'm competing, or I'm comparing myself, or thinking something's not enough, including I'm not enough, that is a scarcity mindset. Whereas the abundant mindset is that all I need is provided. What's the alchemy? How do I detach? Let's collaborate. How do I create? How do I flow? Allow, surrender. And so you can even do an audit of your language, if you like, during the day, is how often these words of scarcity thinking come out your mouth and how much these words of abundance thinking come out your mouth. Because words are like spells, they create reality. And so I cannot be in an abundant mindset and speak like this or think like this. This holds me separate from abundance. And so these are just some thoughts and words that you can connect with. So if we start looking at some of the abundance games that you can play, and these are really looking very specifically now at financial abundance, because you can apply this to abundance of anything, but at many points I'm going to talk about some of the financial abundance. And abundant games are the games that help us step into the frequency and the energy of abundance. The things we can do daily. So even though my bank account may not say R1 million, I can energetically behave like it does. And when I behave like it does, I'm inviting, I'm allowing, I'm aligning, I'm receiving, I'm opening, and I'm doing all the things in Abraham Hicks' language when she works with, when Esther works with Abraham Hicks, to talk about stepping into the vortex. And this is the ways that we step into the vortex. It's through the games that we play. And don't underestimate how playing can create reality. So the first thing is, what's the mantra you have for when you receive money? So any money that is given to you, any money that you receive, and you can use this for other things that you receive as well, compliments, advice, support, help. What's a mantra that you can use for receiving it? Now, the simplest mantra, and it's one that you've heard us say already, is thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Works with the law of decree. It's 3 times. And it's, I receive this easily and gracefully. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Another mantra is I receive this easily and gratefully. As money flows, my bank account grows. How does it get better than this? So feel free to share others that are there. But really, it's learning to pause when you receive and amplify that energy. So whenever you get a rebate from somewhere, or somebody refunds it, or somebody gives you a gift, whatever it is, when somebody offers to pay for your meal, don't worry, no thanks, no thanks. Every time you reject, thank you. I receive that easily and gracefully. It's such a joy to receive. I receive this unapologetically. I'm open to receiving more and more and more and more. And when you're receiving money, it's not about deserving. It's about allowing and receiving. So it's not about, oh, well, I earned it. Oh, well, it's due to me. These are not energies of abundance. The game is to step into the abundance of it. So anybody come up with any other new ones? Anything that you would like to share as mantras for when you receive money? All right, if you've got any, then put them down. But over the next few days and weeks, that's going to be one of the first games you play, is noticing. Even if it is your salary, even if it is money from your ex-husband, even if it's money from somebody you don't like. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I receive this easily and gracefully. Doesn't get any better than this. And money flows, my bank account grows. Yes, exactly right, Nikki. Not just to say it. It's not an intellectual exercise, but to feel it. Open your heart when you say it. That's why I say pause. Not just like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, that's great, lovely, thank you, thank you, thank you. Blah, 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 blah. That's not a frequency. That's a parrot. Please don't be a parrot. Parrot, you're here to create reality, not mimic it. Okay. So the next one is a far more difficult one, is what's the things you do when you spend or pay money? Including tax, including things you don't want to pay in. Okay, what I invest in comes back to me multiplied by 7. Now, Nicolette, the one thing that's coming up there is that the most important thing when you're releasing money is to do it freely, without any expectation, which is going to sound weird, because when we're saying it comes back to me multiplied, there's an expectation. So I'll only do this because. And that, interestingly, holds us in quite a lower frequency than in the higher frequency of I give this away freely. I release this with joy. May everything that flows from me flow through the world with love and peace and more abundance. So it's a very interesting thing when we look at the laws of giving and receiving, is that if I only give with the intention to receive back, it's in the law of scarcity. So it's a very interesting one, because we've been taught that we share it so that it's multiplied. And it's a very difficult one for our minds to get around. So thank you for bringing it up, because it's one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight. Is that how do you spend and pay money to freely give it to anybody? Now, when you give money to somebody on the side of the road and you say, I hope they don't buy alcohol, or I hope they're going to use this wisely, or you give somebody a present and then you're upset with what they spend it on, you have not given it for free. It's their money. You've given it. It's the law of non-interference. It is no longer, I don't own money. It's not mine. I don't buy people's obligation, happiness. I don't have any expectations of what people must do with the money I give them. They are free to use it however they want to use it, including the government and the taxman. No? When your hands are open in giving, your hands are open for receiving. Beautifully put. So think about every time you do a transaction off your bank account, because it's one of the things that's a challenge with money is it's quite invisible. You know, we've got it, I mean, we use a card, or we use an app, or we use online. We don't use cash, which is fine, but you've still got to hold the same essence of not paying with resentment, paying with fear, paying with the difficult obligation of it. Paying with it is that it's free to move and roam freely through the world, because with freedom comes abundance. Yeah? So notice how difficult it is for you to pay people with love. Every time you release money, if you release it with resentment, that's an energetic frequency that goes with that money in the world. If you release it loaded with expectation, that's the frequency that goes out in the world. So release money with an abundant heart. It's free to flow and expand and move to wherever it needs to go. Yeah? So really, really lovely ways to do that, including money you don't want to normally spend. Okay. Then at this point, I'd like you to pick up your purse or your wallet. And I want you to just become aware of what you see and what you feel and what's the experience of picking up your wallet. What's the energetic frequency of your wallet? And if you're willing to share, you can. Just kind of almost like a meta-awareness of noticing it. Anybody got any insights or awarenesses? This is exciting. Oh, I love that. No, it's not weird. It's very light, says Renelle. It's got nothing in it. Mine is tiny. I'm quite possessive of it. It's all mine. Mine's well used. Okay. Yeah. So I know when I look at mine, it's quite dirty. Sometimes it's got quite a lot of old papers in. It's not very well cared for necessarily. Mine, mine, mine. Oh, lovely. Listen to that, Karen. I love it. I bought a Dooney and Bork wallet. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds like I need one. A few months ago, so expensive, but it smells so good. Real leather, decadent. Too many slips, says Taryn. So no, mine's often like that. So just this awareness is that our purse or our wallet, full of plastic, exactly right. So just keep noticing. This represents the major tool we use for abundance on every day. Yeah, mine's a gift from my daughter. I love it. Makes me smile. I think of her. It's inside is different though. Ha ha ha. Perfect. Full of love letters from my daughter. Okay. So here's some very well used pieces of plastic. It's for Mitra. I love it. Is that if you imagine your wallet to be like a portal, it's a portal for money to come in and for money to go out. Everything that's in there needs to complement this portal for abundance. So if this is something that, if we take all the abundance principles, how do I align these abundance principles with my wallet? So that every time I use it, touch it, look at it, it aligns with all the things that we've been thinking about and talking about tonight. So firstly, that there's a freedom to it. Secondly, that there's a joy in it. Now, we can put lots of love letters and photos and that sort of thing, but we don't always want to align money with love. Money and love are not the same thing. Yeah? This is a portal for an abundance of money. If you want to make it a portal of abundance for other things, then notice this. But too many relationships have dynamics of money impacting love, or dynamics of love impacting money. Exactly right, Nikki Delacia. So put crystals and an infinity symbol in your wallet. So if you took some abundance crystals, an infinity symbol you can get from Nikki's shop as well. So you can either make one out of paper or you can get like a little wooden one like this. The infinity symbol is what I give comes back to me freely and easily. You can draw infinity symbols wherever you want. But to put mantras and manifestations in there, and most importantly, you can even take like sort of abundance oil or something and rub it into it, but really to make your wallet not something that is something that's just overused and something you don't like, but it's cared for. A little bit like if we think of a portal, is that we care for it, and there's a sacredness to it. Not a sacredness and you can't touch it. A sacredness as in it's a high vibrational tool. No? Nikki, what crystals do you suggest as abundance crystals? You're being asked, my love. So give us 3 or 4, and then people can. So citrine, I'm sure has to be there. Nikki will answer you now. So this converting your wallet, and one of the things that I'm going to suggest is taking this piece of paper that I gave you earlier tonight, and sorry for those of you in the US, it's not, and is making a sort of a card or an abundance memento, something that represents abundance to you, and putting it in your wallet, a check or a mantra or something that really resonates with this idea of a portal that holds it at a very high frequency. The law of decree. Write a decree about abundance. The law of abundance being available for all, not just some. And to take your purse and your wallet and to really, really make it a high vibrational tool. So that everything in there, because remember, everything's energy, and aligning that. So I think that's a very cool one. That's one of the games that I personally am very excited about and loving at the moment. The next is daily orders to the universe. So each day to wake up and order, command, demand what you want to receive from the universe today. Now, after this, you detach. And if it manifests itself, it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But the most important thing with this game is to make these orders about something you're not attached to having to want at this point in time. So I remember when I started playing these games, some of you have heard the story, one of the orders I put to the universe is I decree that I will get flamingos today. Flamingos, really. I live in Gauteng, South Africa. So it was a bit of a test because I'm a bit naughty like that. But I'm like, that's it, universe, I want flamingos. Within 3 hours, I had 5 or 6 flamingos going on my Facebook page. Throughout the entire day, there were pictures of flamingos, there were quotes about flamingos, there was even a video with flamingos in it. I feel left out because I don't use a wallet, although you have it. I just have a zip in my handbag, but now I'm really feeling better because I can get so much more on it than that kind of wallet. Okay. So daily orders to the universe, receiving a gift, receiving something unexpectedly. Last week when I was in Namibia, I commanded the universe that I wanted to receive pink flowers. I order a car from the universe today. You need to detach, and you can't be needy about it. You can't be sitting in a dependency or desperation around it at all. Just command it and release it. Command it and release it, and then pay attention. Notice your ability to receive it, and notice that the miracles come in unexpected ways. So like I was saying, I commanded pink flowers. At the end of the day, I was like, where were my pink flowers? And the 2 thoughts that came in my head. The first is I was wearing a dress with pink flowers on it. So I was surrounded by pink flowers the entire day and wasn't paying attention to that. And the second was I had the client invited me out to dinner, and we went out for salmon, sushi roses. So I had pink dinner, pink roses, pink flowers for dinner. So it doesn't have to come in the form that you expect it to come, but it is a game of stating a command. This is what I want. This is my order for the day. and to wake up every day and align yourself with the frequency of abundance and to place your order. The next one that we're going to talk about, and sorry, I know it's 9 o'clock, so if you do need to go, you can always listen afterwards, but we're literally going to be another 10 minutes. So if you're happy to hang around, that'll be great. Is to give away things for free. Now that can be giving away compliments, it could be giving away gifts, it could be giving away thoughts, etc., etc. So some of the, the sort of passing on kindness, paying for somebody behind you, in a queue, giving somebody a message. And one of the things I saw the other day, which I truly loved, was somebody took post-it notes and kept writing out inspirational messages on post-it notes and just kept leaving them everywhere they went. Everywhere they went, they just left an inspirational message for whoever found it. It is for free. There's no obligation. You don't put on there, please phone me on such and such a number to thank me for this. Or please let me know if you got this. It's for free. You don't know who's going to get it. You're detached. And the more you give, the more you create this opportunity for abundance to become the birthright for all. And just by aligning with more laughter, an abundance of absolutely, Ange, I can't wait to see what you do with the inspirational notes. Please give more and more people compliments. Make sure they're authentic compliments. Compliment people on not necessarily their looks, because there can be a sense of confusion to that with people. But when somebody has a beautiful smile or somebody says something to you, I mean, you can compliment looks, I'm not saying that, but some people are triggered by that. But just complimenting people. What complimenting does is a paying attention. So if you're at the cashier saying, thank you, you're really efficient. I'm amazed at how you do that after a long day. Or thank you for showing up and doing this. So there's gratitude and compliments and sharing this with other people. And absolutely right, beautiful addition, Marie, is blessings. One of the other games you can have is spending money. Now, not spending real money necessarily. This is a fictitious game. So the way this game works is you do it over a period of a couple of weeks. And so if we were to start tomorrow, you would fictitiously take, let's say, 1,000 Rand. And you're going to write out what you spent your 1,000 Rand on today. You can even download pictures or take a lot off wherever it is that, and you're in make-believe now. If I had 1,000 Rand, this is what I'd buy today, just because I can buy it, just because I want to buy it. And then tomorrow, you double it, 2,000 Rand. So the next day you go 2,000 Rand. But the important bit is to write it down and feel all the excitement of like, oh, I bought this and I bought this and I bought this and I bought this. Make believe, it's perfect. The next day, you double it again. So we go to 4,000 Rand. If you're in the States, you're going to convert this to dollars. Then you're going to go to 8,000. And if you want to do this every day, you can do it every second day. And then you're going to go to 16,000. Until you get to a number that you don't know how to spend it anymore. Okay? You just keep going until you get to a number of like, okay, I've got more money than I know what to spend it on. And just notice the frequency of what it's like to imagine spending that kind of money. Yeah? And it's frivolous. It is so much fun, as Angela says. It aligns you with abundance in the true essence of joy of money. Then the next thing you can do is create an abundance grid, which means you can use the crystals that Nikki spoke about earlier. And you can create a grid where you put the crystals on. And there what you're doing is you're setting the intention of abundance being your birthright. Now what I've done for you, and you can print it out tomorrow, is I've created an abundance grid for you that you can print out and use if you like it. If you don't like it, then don't. But in essence, what you've got here is you've got a whole lot of money on that you can write on it. And there's 2 infinity symbols overlapping with the flower, the seed of life, which is what everything generates from. So the opportunity for you is to print this out. If you don't like it, create another one. It doesn't matter what it is. But all of these symbols, being money, infinity, and the seed of life, all hold the frequency of abundance. So if you printed this out and write what you want on it, put crystals on it, place it somewhere sacred, and keep replenishing this. Create a grid that states your intention, and what crystals do is they hold that frequency in place for you. And then lastly, to say abundance prayers. So you'll see the one on the right there. What's happening here? What did Nikki Danes? Checkers tellers are not grumpy. Come now. The whole store whoops with joy. So start whooping for people. It's so awesome. Right, so on the right there, you're going to see, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm open to receive all gifts available to me. And on the left, I've created a prayer, or I've adapted a prayer from Diana Cooper that you can use as a daily abundance prayer. It's a prayer of decree, so you repeat 3 times, and it is so at the end of it. I'm teasing you, Nikki Danes. So the prayer is as follows. So if you'd like to read along or read it out loud, you can. If you'd like to close your eyes and just hear me say it to you as a way of closing off tonight, then we can do that. You will love them now. All right, so here's your abundance prayer. Beloved Source, I embrace from the center of my glowing heart and the passion of my soul for divine abundance now. I open myself up to all my gifts and talents and my powers of manifestation. Thank you for the blessings I'm about to receive. It is so. Beloved Source, I embrace from the center of my glowing heart and the passion of my soul, divine abundance now. I open myself up to all my gifts and talents and my powers of manifestation. Thank you for the blessings I'm about to receive. It is so. Divine beloved Source, I embrace from the center of my glowing heart and the passion of my soul, divine abundance now. I open myself up to all my gifts and talents and my powers of manifestation. Thank you for the blessings I'm about to receive. It is so. It is so. It is so. Right, so there we have it. I'm just going to come back into here. Let's come back to the original thing. We can see who's here. And so, as a way of just ending off, and I do apologize, I know it's after 9. It was my intention for us to finish at 9, but it is what it is. If anybody would like to share what it is that you have most received tonight, what it is that you are grateful for, just as a way of sharing that, you can do that in the chat box, and we'll just very quickly take an opportunity to see. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Taryn. It's a pleasure, it's an honor and a privilege. So it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yum, thank you. How awesome. How awesome. So if any others want to share. Oh, I love your rings. Thank you so much. All my rings, all my sparklies. It's exactly what I needed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of love. Thank you. 100 times fold. I'll receive your love. Thank you. Okay. So it is, and so it is, and so it is. I'm so glad, Francesca. All right, so we're going to wrap it up there. Tomorrow you will receive the everything is as it's meant to be. Gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So grateful for messages. Beautiful, beautiful evening. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing the space. Thank you for being the amazing soul that you are. And thank you for coming to Earth to live your purpose at this point in time. And so it is. And so tomorrow you will receive this recording, and you will also receive the presentation, and those of you that asked for a 1-card reading, you will receive that too, so look out for that. And we'll do this again, I'm sure, because it's been fun. So if you have any ideas or feedback, that'll be amazing to receive. Otherwise, I wish you an abundance of life. And I met a Texan. All right, perfect. Namaste. Take care.